It's 6 o'clock p.m. We have a lot to cover tonight, so I think we'll get started. We'll call to order our regular city council meeting for April 18th. Call the roll, please.
Berkland,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, first item, of course, is approval of tonight's meeting agenda. I need a motion to approve tonight's agenda, please.
Second.
Any discussion on the agenda? If not, call the roll, please.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Walling. Yes.
Okay, consent agenda. Tonight on the consent agenda, we have the usual items, minutes of the April 4th, 2022 regular city council, payments for contract services, and all these payments are to Bolton and Mink. First one is Wees Park improvements in the amount of $2,558.50. Next one, runway relocation phase 3, $44,190.75. Runway relocation phase 2, $33,745.95. Runway relocation phase 1, $3,912. Runway relocation land acquisition, $14,985.75. Runway relocation, $28,946.52. Municipal airport engineering in the amount of $539. And all those should total up to $128,878.47. Tonight for claims, registers, and financials, we have $1,922,372.16. We have no licenses or permits tonight. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda items that I just went over.
So moved. I'll second.
Any discussion related to any of those items? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. We're down to city administrator's report.
All right, it's a big agenda tonight, so I'll keep it short and sweet, but big thing is the solar project is still moving along. Just signed the agreements for, I believe, City Hall and the library to get hooked up. And then we're just down to the rec center to get that all finished up and squared away, and the police station. So I think still waiting on some of the parts for the police station. That'll get squared away, so it's coming along slowly but surely. Does anybody have any questions for me? Anything?
Are we seeing any reductions in expenses?
I think we've really only gotten one bill, and I'm not sure how many were on that, but we should see about 3 cents per kilowatt. And the ones that have been done aren't large users, so we won't see that big of a difference, but we will be keeping track of that.
I will be, yes.
Any other questions for Sven? If not, we'll move on to mayor council comments. I don't think I have anything tonight. Council?
The only comment I'm hearing is the continuing as well as the food temperature. Looks like we're addressing part of
Can you pull your microphone up, please?
Being an old man and retired and have time on my hands, I spend a lot of time driving around Perry and just looking at things. And it seems to me that we're going downhill. I see a lot of houses, a lot of backyards, a lot of this and that just have tremendous accumulations of junk. And I feel sorry for the neighborhoods that those exist in. And I feel sorry for us as a town having all of that stuff. And I don't have an answer, for how we should or could address it. But it seems to me that we need to be more concerned about it than I think we have been. I think we need to be a little more proactive. I'm not blaming any city staff. I'm not, I'm blaming our residents. And that's too bad. Because we have a nice town, we spend a lot of money to maintain and to do and to create and to see those just damnable situations in all the backyards, not all the backyards, in a lot of backyards. I wish we could figure out a way to do something to be more proactive about that. Whether it's finding them, whether it's encouraging them, I don't pretend to know the answer, but I think it's getting out of hand.
I see that when I walk as well. It's the same offenders all the time.
It's taking, it's taking pride of ownership or pride in your property if you're renting, still taking pride in where you live. And I'm not sure how you build that, but that's where it starts, of course, as you said, with the citizens that live in there.
But we have codes and we have ordinances and we have so on and so.
And I know Mark is out 3 days a week, but again, sometimes when you drive by stuff all the time, you don't see it the same. So we do have a form on our website on the compliance page that you can put in compliance concerns. I know Marco, our intern right now, is actually compiling a list of issue both homes, commercial buildings, and accessory buildings. For the most part, the list that we've been working on for the last 5 years is pretty much completed and taken care of. So we've taken care of a lot of those issues, but more have arisen since that time. So he's updating that list. And then last meeting where we brought on Lynch Dallas to help out with some compliance issues too, the bigger ones that will take a little bit longer. So I think all of that, it could be that we hire an additional staff person to help out Mark too. That is a possibility. We do have a little bit of room in the general fund this year that we did not budget. So that's the direction that we want to head. We can probably afford to do a few more hours a week with somebody.
Well, we're coming to the time of year when people can get out and pick that stuff up and spend some time in their yard and haul stuff away and so on. And I just think we need to be a little more conscious about it and a little more proactive, urging our citizens to just keep things a little bit better.
And of course, we have our free dumpster program, which has been very popular. People can sign up and get a free dumpster.
And I know Daniel started the compliance assistance program. So if you want to volunteer to help, you can, or if you're somebody that needs help, you can sign up for that so that we can kind of match people up. Also, in my time, I've noticed that it tends to be a little seasonal, and spring always stuff somehow just accumulates over winter.
Yeah.
And it just really, snow melts in the spring and it's just very visible. There's no leaves on to be able to block stuff out. So spring always tends to look pretty rough. And then, Mark spends a good amount of his time in the summer running around town chasing some of that stuff down. So.
Do we have any kind of city pride program, something that could coincide with the dump day, maybe prior to that? Actually, not something we do this year, but something, my experience of buy-in, people are encouraged to, hey, we have a day where your neighbors can help you or whatever, which would make sense to have it in the spring when people can get outside. Probably buy-in on that would be better than compliance. I'm guessing that, like Chuck said, same repeat offenders. I'm guessing that if they go clean up a little bit, then probably it happens over and over again. So maybe some kind of program to get into buy-in the world of the city pride and have some volunteers and some things like that. Maybe that would go further than, hey, you need to do this, or.
Yes. And I think that's what the program Daniel came up with really kind of gets at, is that if you're somebody that needs help with, you know, cleaning up a pile of brush or trimming a tree, something like that, you can call City Hall, sign up, and then volunteers also sign up, saying, hey, I would be willing to cut brush or trim a tree or something like that. And I do know it's in the chamber's strategic plan to initiate some sort of like yard of the week or month or something like that as well, to help build some of that community growth.
And I understand that there's senior citizens that just can't go out and do it. You know, they can't take care of that stuff, even if they care about it. And if they don't have close friends or family around, you know, I understand how it can get ignored a little bit.
And we did just implement, as we've just referenced, our new program where they can call and ask for somebody.
I think that's right.
And I think Marco has been going around. I think he'll probably be done this week sometime, of the different quadrants that he's broken up with town. So it'll be really good to see what he has gone out and seen kind of with fresh eyes, and it's assembled a list for us to meet folks.
Well, I just wanted to raise it in our conscious level.
Yeah.
You know, not just us, but everybody around town.
It's a good time of year to do it, so we, hopefully all of us can work on it.
Yeah, that's right.
Any other council comments? All right, thanks, Chuck. Moving on then to open forum. As usual, speakers will be asked to step up to the microphone and state their name and address for the record. Individuals speaking will be given 3 minutes to address the council. Again, this is the time where anyone can address any topic, including those agenda items tonight that we have, or any other topic you want to bring to our attention. So anybody here for open forum tonight? Anybody on Zoom for open forum?
I can give a quick update for the chamber. This is Lindsay on Zoom. We had a really great fireworks drive in the last couple of weeks with the Big Boom Bracket Battle, raising over $4,000, and then a really fantastic radio pie auction, raising $11,000. We just decided last week with the chamber board meeting how much we would be able to spend on this year's fireworks. And I just got the agreement from our display company, so that will be sent over to the city, and I hope in the next council meeting you'll be able to see our plans there for the fireworks display to approve for that permit. But that's about it for updates on what's been going on. And then looking ahead, next Thursday we will host an employer roundtable along with the Perry Economic Development and City Greater Dallas County Development Alliance and a few other works, Iowa Works, and partners too. That'll be at La Poste next Thursday, 2:30 to 4:30.
Okay. Thank you for the update. Anybody else for open forum tonight? If not, we'll move on to our special presentation. Tonight we have special presentation Director Susan Gerlach with PFM Financial Advisors LLC as the city's financial advisor is going to present on the Sewer Enterprise Fund and a rate analysis that has been performed.
So Suzanne was supposed to be here, but I don't see her on Zoom or in the audience. So I'm not quite sure. I guess everything, all the information was in the council packet. With what, working with Bolton and Mink and Public Financial Management came up with a plan, obviously involving rate adjustments, but looking at a $9 increase in the first year with a 12% increase on the usage fee per 1,000 gallons. In that packet that I handed out at the last meeting, should have been in the packet this time, you can kind of see some of those somebody uses 1,000 gallons or 2,000 gallons, things like that. So you can kind of see what the bills would look like. Year number 2, so next fiscal year, we'd be looking at a 12% increase, and then 2 years of 10% increases. At that time, we'll take another look and see what it looks like then as well. So obviously, the project came in a little bit higher than what we expected, but we talked about this kind of at the initial, looking at the treatment plant. We did our initial round of increases, knowing that we would have to take another look at it when we were closer to that final bidding and construction time. So we approved that bid, about $7 million over where we thought it was going to come in at, knowing that that would also be reflected in sewer rates. So I think, what did it start out at? I think we were looking at $12 increase. So we were able to kind of balance out the availability charge increase initially with a little bit, I think, higher percentage on the usage fee. So the more people are using. In general, any questions on that?
Just as an aside, we continue to remain pretty much on target, on schedule with the construction.
Yep, I think we're within about 2 weeks, but looking at the plant being operational next July, and then they'll move into deconstructing parts of the plant that have been replaced. That should be wrapped up by the end of next year. Okay, so
Will those rates affect the packing house to the west of us also?
no, they are not on our sewer. They have their own sewer treatment plant.
But the water, do they use from us?
Yes. Sometimes they have a well and they have the ability to draw from the city. And those are the waterworks water rates.
So if it goes up a little for everybody, it'll go up.
On the water.
If they get
But this
just
is
water
just
only.
on the sewer,
Yeah, okay.
just sewer rates.
Yeah.
So
So Stan, am I understanding correctly that over the next 3 years, the rates are going to go up 32%? 12, 10, and 10.
yeah, incrementally though.
Well, yeah, over the next 3 years.
Yeah. And obviously not the best timing in the world, but this project has not really hit any good timing, I would say, in the life of the project. So
So just because I'm coming in late, what is the shelf life on these improvements? Is this a 50-year, 20-year, like what's
Prob-
the?
in that 20 to 30-year range is when we would have to start looking at the next improvements.
So you'll still be on council at that time.
I'm looking to time that right after my retirement. So hopefully it lasts another 30 years.
It's costly, but it's something we had to do.
Yeah.
Really wasn't any choice about it.
And with all of these numbers and assumptions, they put in a very low, if not zero, growth rate. So, every new home that comes on will help out and continue to add to our sewer revenues. So looking out in years 5, 6, and beyond, that might help possibly reduce the percentage that we'll be looking at in future years.
Okay, anything else? Thanks,
Just-
Ben.
Just for some background, we decided to take this on now because they've grandfathered us in. So we don't have to spend as much as if we would have waited. Isn't that the way it was? Yeah.
Yeah.
They-
Anything else on sewer rates? Always a popular topic.
Or not.
So this is the last item on the agenda, is setting the sewer rates with the first reading. I think with something like this, we'll probably do 3 separate readings. That'll still give us time to do the readings, publish it, and have it effective for the July bills in August.
Thanks for the update. Public hearing is our next item. We have a public hearing tonight for voluntary annexation. City of Perry received applications for voluntary annexation from Mr. Lamar Koth, Hope K Farms LLC, and Mr. Carl Stuckenholtz for parcels of real estate located in Dallas County adjoining to the city of Perry city limits. They wish to be annexed. The city will now receive and take any public comments or questions on this matter during this public hearing, which will open at 6:20 p.m.
So I don't see any public for comments, but just to go over this again, I'll talk about this now before we get into these items on old business, but 5 different parcels, one of which is just beyond 31st Street between McKinley and Willis Street. And then the other 4 are just east of the industrial park. So kind of expanding our reach that way a little bit. Still kind of having conversations if we would want to look at combining those properties and doing the background research we have to do for the certified site, or just kind of unofficially doing some of that work so that we can have some of the legwork done without going through the full certified site process. So but definitely good to have additional land available right next to the industrial park. Never know when somebody might come along and need a bunch of land. We'll be ready for it right there.
How many acres is that?
The one right at 31st Street, I think, is about 20 acres. And then by the industrial park would be about, I think, 170, 160, 170 additional acres. So looking at about 200 acres in total.
Wouldn't we be smarter with all this extra work just to annex all the way out to the radio station?
Oh, you'd have
On
a
both
whole-
sides?
You'd have a whole bunch of tough people out there.
There's only just a few.
Now, as this land becomes annexed, does it also become zoned?
So way state code works is that when it's annexed in, it is annexed in as agricultural.
Okay.
So it'll be zoned ag, and then we would have to go back and zone it to something different.
As
If, for
developments start to happen?
Yeah. But in the meantime, it would probably just remain ag until there's something to look at, unless, you know, we could go to those property owners as well. They may have interest in rezoning it to like light industrial or something like that to match the industrial park. Just to be a little bit, again, more ready for possible development.
In the meantime, it will be.
Yep.
But one would assume that our residential growth will go that direction. I would be hesitant about thinking it should all be zone industrial. Or-
Just by the industrial.
Yeah.
The piece on.
Yeah, you know, with the total acreage out there, one would assume that some of that's going to be a housing project.
Could be.
Hope.
Anything else for this public hearing related to this voluntary annexation? If not, we will close this public hearing at 6:24 p.m. And we will move on to old business. First item under old business is resolution approving voluntary annexation of property owned by Amar Koth. And we've received an application for voluntary annexation from Lamar for parcels of real estate located in Dallas County adjoining to the city of Perry city limits that they wish to be annexed. Per code section 368.7, documentation was sent to the Dallas County Board of Supervisors and the Dallas County Attorney, as well as a public hearing held on April 18th, 2022. This resolution pursuant to chapter 368.7 for the Code of Iowa would annex the property legally described in the resolution and authorize the city clerk to forward the appropriate documents to the state of Iowa and other agencies required by law. Need a motion?
I move that we approve the voluntary annexation. Second.
Discussion, we've already had some discussion on this just now during our public hearing. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Smaller,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Next item under old business, resolution approving voluntary annexation of property owned by Hope K Farms LLC. An application for voluntary annexation was received from Hope K Farms LLC for parcels of real estate located in Dallas County adjoining to the city of Perry city limits that they wish to be annexed per code section 368.7. Documentation was sent to the Dallas County Board of Supervisors and the Dallas County Attorney, as well as a public hearing held on April 18th, 2022. This resolution pursuant to chapter 368.7 for the Code of Iowa would annex the property legally described in the resolution and authorize the city clerk to forward the appropriate documents to the city of Iowa and other agencies as required by law. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion, we pass a resolution approving voluntary annexation of property owned by Hope K Farms LLC.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Smaller,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, resolution approving voluntary annexation of property owned by Carl Stuckenholtz. An application for voluntary annexation was received from Mr. Carl Stuckenholtz for parcels of real estate located in Dallas County adjoining to the city of Perry city limits that they wish to be annexed per code section 368.7. Documentation was sent to the Dallas County Board of Supervisors of the Dallas County Attorney, as well as a public hearing held on April 18th, 2022. This resolution pursuant to chapter 368.7 for the Code of Iowa would annex the property legally described in the resolution and authorize the city clerk to forward the appropriate documents to the state of Iowa and other agencies as required by law. Need a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution approving voluntary annexation of property owned by Carl's.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on this voluntary annexation? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Smaller,
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, resolution accepting a grant from the Iowa Finance Authority. The city of Perry, per resolution 020722E, submitted an application to the Iowa Finance Authority for a water infrastructure fund grant. And on April 14th, 2022, the city was notified that they had been awarded said grant in the amount of $500,000. This resolution would accept the grant agreement, WIF agreement number 22-23, as well as the terms of and conditions of the award, and authorizes the mayor to execute all documents necessary for the grant. Motion, please.
I make a motion, we accept the grant from the Iowa Finance Authority. Second.
Discussion?
All sorts of money. So.
All free money.
That's right. So this grant was for the Frog Creek Restoration Project, which will be string bank restoration and stabilization from about 141 up to Warford. So, yep, a pretty good stretch of it.
And when do we go to Warford?
That'll be phase 2. It's about to Warford, right? Yep. So we will still have some sponsored project funds to work with. So, you know, between the Iowa Street grant that we got $750,000 for all of that, those projects. So that's $750,000 of that sponsored project funding that we can use somewhere else. This funding and the sponsored project funding have a little bit different guidelines on how you have to do that restoration and storm water pollution efforts. So since we didn't want to mix those two funding sources on this, it will be two separate projects, but we'll be looking at that as kind of phase two eventually to do.
And the other project is the wetlands over at soccer. Or is that?
So the three that were kind of the final top three were the Iowa Street wetlands, Frog Creek Restoration, and then the downtown revitalization project. So we could probably end up putting a little bit more money into that downtown revitalization. But all in all, kind of seeing how we shape out and then maybe do more of Frog Creek and then see if there are other projects that state would let us do with some of those funds. So thinking with as successful as we've been with those stormwater funds, it's kind of all the same people letting us know what we can do and how we can use those funds and awarding us these funds. So it's been it's been fun working with them and figuring out different projects and funding sources to get them all.
It's really good to see some of these things getting done.
Yeah, we added up the total funding and what was it? Almost $3 million that we would be investing in stormwater quality efforts within the city through these grants and things. So pretty exciting.
It
From,
really is.
I've got a question from 141. This direction, will that look more like what the park looks like when it's finished? Where it's all manicured and flat down through there?
Parts of it. It'll probably kind of depend. There will probably be some cattail areas,
Mhm.
and then maybe some taller grass around parts of it.
Right.
I would say probably the north side, where we intend to kind of have a park atmosphere, would probably be a little bit more regularly maintained.
Great.
So,
Sounds good. Any further discussion on accepting this grant? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item under old business, resolution ordering bids, approving plans, specifications, in form of contract and notice to bidder, fixing amount of bidder's check, and ordering and publishing notice for a public hearing on the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the relocate runway phase 2 and 3 project in the city of Perry. Bolton and Mink Inc. of Ames, Iowa has completed the relocate runway phase 2 and 3 project manual with approval from the FAA for the city to begin the public bidding process. Bolton and Mink anticipates to work on the project to commence upon approval of the contract by the city council and have specified 100 working days for this project to be substantially completed after notice to proceed. As required by code, the engineer's opinion of probable construction costs for both phase 2 and 3 is $9,889.42 for the complete project. A public hearing will be set for 6 p.m. on May 16th, 2022 in the second floor meeting room of the Towncraft Building located at 1122 Willis Avenue, Perry, Iowa. Both the public hearing notice and the advertisement for bids will be published in accordance with law. Need a motion to approve this public hearing set date?
I make a motion, we pass a resolution ordering bids, approving plans, specs for the runway at the airport, phase 2 and 3 project for the city. I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I have a question.
yes,
Is there any specific reason why in both cases you eliminated saying relocate runway 14/32?
Oh, no.
Okay, because it should be in there, correct?
Okay,
No, okay, but he didn't say it twice. and that concerned me.
okay.
same runway.
Same run.
We're only gonna do one. My heart can only take one. So this is the plans and requesting bids for the additional 1,500 feet of dirt work for the extension, and then the paving of the full 5,500 feet or hopefully 5,501 feet of our runway. And Matt is approaching the microphone to add.
I just had something I wanted to share with the cost estimate on this. You'll notice there's a breakdown of percentages on this of the 9 and change. 94% of this is paid for by a federal government grant, the FAA. So good opportunity for the city of Perry.
So don't faint when you look at the number.
Yeah, don't faint. Yeah.
Great news. Great news.
Our tax dollars at work. That's good. Any further discussion?
So this is just setting the hearing.
So this is putting the project out to bid, and this is everything all in one resolution. So we'll get bids back, and hopefully we'll have them on the May 16th agenda, correct?
And put in a timeline on when it's due. And they
So
yes, I-
today, we just had the pre-construction meeting for the initial grading of the 4,000 feet. So that'll be getting going here hopefully early May. Should not take them too awful long to get that done. And then hopefully this project will be just able to start not far behind that.
Any further discussion?
So the 94% is on the probable construction costs, not actual bidding.
Yep.
Not holding anybody to that 94%. I was just curious.
Oh, no, we'll hold both names to 94.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item under old business, resolution approving economic development grant agreement with Perry Economic Development, Inc. Perry Economic Development and the city have previously entered into a memorandum of understanding dated February 2, 2021 regarding the ownership, operation, and support of the Hotel Pattee and La Poste. Over the past year, PED and city representatives have been working closely on capital improvements, management, fundraising, and future management of the facilities in order to make additional improvements to the Hotel Pattee. Additional fundraising and grant writing will need to take place or occur. There are certain improvements that need to be made more immediately to ensure the smooth operation and a satisfactory guest experience. This resolution would authorize a grant to Perry Economic Development, PED, in the amount of $150,000 to continue to make said improvements and leverage additional donations and fundraising. Need a motion, please?
I move we pass a resolution approving the economic development grant agreement.
I'll second.
Discussion?
So last meeting, we had a very thorough report from Perry Economic Development. But kind of something that the management committee has been working on is figuring out exactly what needs to be repaired and kept up in the interim before the city takes ownership of the hotel. So this is going to help with that. Just last week, also, the state came out with a new grant program geared towards tourism. So we will be definitely looking at applying for that. The application isn't even open yet, but we'll be looking if it's going to be kind of a joint application between the city and Perry Economic Development, or one or the other, however we do that. But the kitty that we would be applying for is would do up to 25% of the total project, which could include acquisition and it's already made, things like that. So could be looking at a pretty sizable grant application for that. Pretty hopeful that that would be successful. So hopefully this will help us leverage some additional funds to really put a done stamp on a lot of the improvements at the hotel and really springboard us forward as we look to take over the properties.
Is there a breakdown of these, of the cost of what was done? for? Or is it just, I mean, is it mechanical, is it?
Yeah, well,
Is
so
it-
there's a spreadsheet in there, but I mean, it's a whole range of different things. I know right now, for instance, there's new door access locks, new key cards, all that on order, about $25,000-$30,000 to do all the doors. So things like that, some HVAC improvements as they pop up. It's kind of the age that a lot of the actuators are going out, so some actuator replacements, things like that. So just things that pop up and things to keep up. So, you know, rooms need carpet and just all that kind of stuff. So, but there is a very thorough list put together. Yes, there is.
Further discussion, questions? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to new business. First item under new business, resolution approving the insurance administration contracts and renewing the Blue Choice insurance plan with Wellmark Iowa Governmental Health Care Plan for City of Perry employees. City employees and city council wish to administer employee benefits that contain costs as well as provide benefits required by the Teamsters Union and the city employee manual. The current healthcare contract will expire on June 30, 2022. Bernie Lowe and Associates received bids for healthcare insurance and recommends renewing the Wellmark IGHCP Blue Choice Plan with an 8.8%, with an 8.87% increase from the current rate. This resolution would approve the agreement with North Risk Partners to continue administrating health insurance and benefits, an agreement with World Insurance Associates for the administration of the Iowa Governmental Health Care Plan, and renews the Blue Choice Health Insurance Plan from Wellmark for the city of Perry from July 1, 2022 till June 30th, 2023. Need a motion for this insurance action?
I make a motion to approve resolution approving the insurance administration contracts and renewing the Blue Choice insurance plan with Wellmark Iowa Governmental Health Care Plan or the city of Perry.
I would second that.
Discussion?
But didn't we?
I was about to pinch somebody over here. to make a motion. But we do have Mr. Skip Lowe of North Risk Partners here to give us the full abbreviated presentation
We'll abbreviate.
of insurance benefits.
3 minutes.
Supersonic version.
Yeah.
So we're gonna work on that tonight. It's good to see you all.
Good to see you again, Skip.
I'm reminded on this beautiful windy day. Same time, it's not even gone. Just the traffic's pretty hefty coming over here. Folks that are hopefully settling in the area. Right, that's good. So you guys are in the growth mode. On from there. Council folks, persons. As I said, I'm going to walk through this nice little pamphlet of information here. It has your renewal in there for your Wellmark. It also has your dental in there as well as your life insurance, your vision insurance. And I thought it would be helpful, just pretend like you don't know me, just to provide you a list of all the services that we are providing you. When I started in this business, it was pretty much a lot simpler than it is today, where you had a product, you came in with your renewal, and you made sure you took care of some services along the way. But as the business has evolved, a lot of expectations have come on the shoulders of the broker community, which is great. It's made us better. And so hopefully you'll spend some time to see some of the great array of services we are providing you that range from either Affordable Care Act guidance and filing with the IRS. We also provide COBRA services for you. We can help you with retiree billing if that ever comes up. We provide FMLA administration. We also have a host of other supporting services like called Xywave, which is a really geeky way of saying it's HR at your fingertips. We also provide customer service for your employees. We want to do employee education. We'll be back on the 12th and the 13th of May. First of all, we're going to meet with the employee spouses. They're invited so we can make sure that they're educated on their choices and what's going on in the healthcare industry. And then we'll be back on the 13th to meet with the employees. And I think we'll probably be doing it here in this fine facility here. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and go through this because I know you got a lot on your agenda. So if you want to go to the page 1, I know this looks like a complicated chart here, but we broke down your current costs that you have right here. My index finger is. And then we had just a renewal if you did nothing. Now keep in mind, I'll draw your attention to the red areas there in the charts. That is what the employees have currently for their health plan. So they enjoy a $500 deductible for an individual and $1,000 for a family. And their worst case scenario, all in at the end of the year, is $1,000 for an individual and $2,000 for a family. So we're not changing deductibles by moving forward in the charts here that I have for you. The second chart is if you left your current plan the same, you took the renewal from Wellmark. There's a component in there though you'll see under the red where the actual deductible is higher. So you're purchasing a much higher deductible. It's called partial self-funding. So you are self-funding the difference down for the employees. And so what we do behind the scenes is we estimate what your claims are going to be, and we've estimated that to be about a 15% utilization. As we know, healthcare costs continue to go up. The city has spent down those deductibles for years where the employees and the members, they deserve to have the best, have kept their costs the same. So their co-pays, their deductibles, their out-of-pocket expenses have remained the same. As inflation, which we all are hearing about a lot more, it's always been in healthcare, it keeps going up 7-10% each year on average. What happens is when the city is not raising the deductibles and the co-pays for the members, well, they are having to absorb that trend in their claims. And so what I'm recommending to the council is to increase the budget for the claim portion that the city pays and provides to the members so that they can spend down those deductibles to the 8.87. I hope that makes sense. And you can see that there where my pinky is. Okay, it's kind of in a pink colored chart. I also threw a scenario where you would overfund your partial self-funding. So a bottom line is when you look at the numbers, the total for per month, we're going to have you add about another $15,000 to $30,000. Well, not 15 to 30. We're going to, let me slow down, $20,000 to $30,000 in your budget for your partial self-funding so that the city is not having to go into the reserves for that. So hopefully at the end of next year, you'll have some dollars left over that you can mitigate future increases. So we're not changing anything for the employees. Little healthcare checkup. We did go out to market. We looked at Health Partners, who just has a new affiliation with your local hospital here in Dallas County, which is great. I think they will be attractive in the future. However, they could not meet the specifications of the deductibles that we have today, as well as the rates. The other thing is I'm really excited. We are launching our own health plan. Actually, it launched in June of last year. It's called Score with 4. Some really cool things are on the horizon. So this is going to be the car chase of my speech here tonight, I promise. Okay. We're going to have really 4 unique components. One is we're going to be able to allow members to direct care to special deal facilities in Iowa, believe it or not. And we are building this network now where they would pay $0 for certain services. We don't want to direct anybody away from your local community, but sometimes folks go to Des Moines to get their MRI. So we are working on that network. The second thing is it's a level funded contract, which means that the city would have more control to evacuate captured capital in their health plan. Because I will tell you what, I feel like a comedian that runs out of material sometimes when I come back and say 5%, 8%, 5%, 8% every year. So what's exciting about this is that this level funding contract is going to give you more control. The really interesting part of this is that we are actually working with a sourcing company for medications. So we have currently 250 medications that are on our list that you can actually have delivered to your front door, just like your tennis shoes and your Amazon products that we do today. And we are sourcing those from Canada, New Zealand, from the United Kingdom and Australia. And we are building that in the insurance plan. Since these are medications that are typically being farmed out to specialty locations, especially pharmacies, 98% of your members are not going to be impacted. They're going to use our local pharmacies. We don't want to take any local business. But in doing so, we're able to go ahead and save the city up to 60 to 80% on these medications. So I'll go into detail when I give you a better rate, because this year it was not attractive. So that is going to be the other part of it. And then the last component is we really believe that mental health is a big issue in our country. And so we have a company called Healthiest You, where you have access to specialists, second opinions, if you have a chronic condition that's occurring, and mental health. And we want to direct anybody that would like to voluntarily use this service, it's $0 to them. So we're not going to direct people away from your local providers again, because we really want to keep your dollars local as much as possible. We want to give people a choice, because there's certain medications that are so expensive. The average person in this country has less than $1,000 in their pocket. 75% of the people in this country are a paycheck away. And so the report card is not good. Healthcare costs have gone up 87% since the onset of the ACA, which is the Affordable Care Act. Deductibles gone up to 200%. So we really want to take a look at ways that we can dive into the health plan, give people the choices to get the care where they would like. And if they want to have their medication shipped to their front door, we're not going to take away from the local economy here. So I was hoping to have that for you tonight, but we did not have an attractive number for you. So we're not going to tell you to spend maybe $170,000 more, right? We want to have some solid numbers. So that's the Wellmark renewal. Is there any questions on that? I know I talked very quickly because I was told to. And I do listen, believe it or not. Okay, so far okay? All right. Next page, this will go much quicker, I promise. This is pretty simple. So this is your principal life insurance program. And this is not changing. So if you see at the bottom, you see where it says 0%. We're not changing that. Sorry, that's a demo. Gotta slow me down, Susie. Okay. DSP, that's your vision plan. We put that in place a couple years ago. We're under rate guarantees, so that's 0%. And then we have the Unum, finally, the life insurance, the Unum life insurance. And then we have the Unum, that's the long-term disability program. Okay, and that's under a rate guarantee as well. For your reading pleasure, I have also put in some plan benchmarks. If you noted the numbers, they look to be fairly high as far as your family premiums. They're roughly close to $2,000 a month. Just remember, the average deductibles in this country in the private sector are much higher. So when you combine the cost of the average premium and the average deductibles, your plan is actually very solid in the cost. Again, we went to market. We looked at everything we could for you. Okay. I think it's also worth noting that your plan that you provide to your employees is really economic development, right? Because when people are purchasing health insurance through your city, they're getting it for a really good deal. And you've got great participation, so you get the good with the bad. Your plans ran very well. However, with healthcare trends at 8%, we all know that COVID-19 has really impacted the cost of healthcare. Dental insurance, cavities are up 75%, by the way. And we've seen mental health hit plans. But when you look at the benchmarks, your plan is obviously very rich and attractive, but remember, it is economic development. You're helping local businesses. If they have a spouse on your plan, for example, it's helping your local economy. I also did a provisional comparison on your dental. Your plan stacks up out there with the best of the best. And then I just did your prescription drugs. I would note that your plan is not a street product. You can't buy it out there right now on the market. You guys have gotten creative over the years. You've had a PPO, you went to an HMO style plan, so it's a hybrid. You've raised your deductibles to offset those increases. So you could not compete on the prices that you have. And then I thought it'd be just helpful. How do you stack up on employee contributions? And that's on the next page. So at the very top, you'll see that provided what the employee contributions are for the insurance. And then I said, well, okay, well, how do you stack up nationally? So you have better deductibles, and now your contributions really tell the story for the employees. They are getting a really good deal. When you look at especially the annual cost, and you look at the bottom, I also put the full rates out there on average, but remember, your plan is richer than the average plan. So you're running really about equal. But we have some good news. The delivery of healthcare is going to be changing, and it's going to be for the better. We want to make sure we get everybody to the doctor and have access to that. And then I just thought in closing that I would also just put together, I did a total, this is our 18th year together. Hard to believe, right? It's back when I didn't have any gray hair. The business didn't do it. It's genetics, I promise. But basically, because of the way the plan has been set up, the management, the decision-making that you've put forward, our estimate based on what you would have done had you done nothing, the city saved roughly $1.2 million in that 17 years. That's a lot of jobs. And we want to keep the dollars in your community as much as possible. The very last thing I'll say is you're cordially invited to our 25th anniversary this year in Perry, Iowa at the Hotel Paty. We're doing the Hawkeye Insulator Swap Meet, and the doors open at 9 a.m. And yes, I collect insulators that used to sit on telephone poles, and so do many other folks out there in the country. So if you're out for a stroll, please come see us at the Hotel Paty. I'm honored to bring hopefully some commerce to the area. I have right now 40 tables spoken for. We hope to have about 150 people show up, and I'm going to advertise all over the area. So I hope they bring their buckets of insulators that have been sitting in their barns for a few years, and we'll see how much they're worth. I mean, there's people that are picking all kinds of things that you've seen on these antique shows. So it's amazing the color spectrum that they came in. You know, I'm a geek. I've already told you all about this, but looking forward to serving the community as much as I can. This is just a great town, and just really, really proud and honored to have your endorsement.
Thank you.
June 4th, Saturday.
Maybe I misunderstood. I don't know. You gave a list of 4 countries where our medicines come from.
Yes, so there's a supply chain. I think we've all heard about that, right? And so there's spread pricing. So pharmacy benefit managers are in charge of getting the medications basically from the manufacturers through the carrier contracting into your hands ultimately. So the sourcing of these medications are coming from the same manufacturers, the same packaging, but it's amazing how we can get those for 60 to 80% less sourcing them from other countries. So they are coming from the United Kingdom, New Zealand. They're also coming from Australia and Canada. So they are being sourced, and it's something that we're not mandating. Employees would have the choice to do that, but it's significant. We ran a number for a local large medical center in Des Moines, and the savings was $2.7 million a year. No counterfeit drugs. They're coming from the same source, chain of custody at the border. FDA, USDA inspects every
I
package.
understand. It just seems very sad to me that a public utility, a public city has to go out of the United States to be able to afford to buy our medicine. When we're here trying to create jobs for people.
Sure.
I understand your numbers.
Yeah.
But it just hurts.
Some of these medications are manufactured in the United States. The sourcing of these medications are going to be for high cost meds that are not local.
What percent would you suggest are manufactured in the United States of the typical overbroad use?
I would say over 50, at least over 50%. Yeah, there's a lot of medications coming out of Germany. You've all heard of McKesson Humira. That's a medication that right now is running about $7,000 a month. We're sourcing it for $1,200 from the same manufacturer.
I understand.
Yeah.
I do understand, but I hate it.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from on that. we're not trying to take any jobs or any commerce out of the country. And
The nature of the beast.
we have to have some answers, and it's not just an answer, it's a solution. I will tell you, if it makes you feel any better, if you look up the state of Montana, there's a company called Sharks, SHARX, keep playing the term, right? They are working with that organization, and I don't want to throw a number out, but the state of Montana has done this. State of Georgia has been doing this. There's a number of sourcing organizations that have done this. There's city of Cincinnati has done this as well. Doesn't make it right. I just want to let you know that this is not a guinea pig experiment, and that this is a solution we're looking at, because it's the low hanging fruit. It's the number one cost driver. It's 27% of your cost. It's going to be probably 50% in a couple of years.
Any further discussion before we call the roll on this? If not, call the roll on the resolution approving the insurance administration contracts for Blue Choice, insurance plan, et cetera.
Klein,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
No.
Thank you. Thanks, Skip. Next item, resolution approving the group dental and vision insurance renewal with Principal Healthcare for City of Perry employees. It's important that the benefits provided by the City of Perry involve savings for both the city and its employees, as well as provides benefits required by the Teamsters Union and the city employee manual. The current Principal Dental and Vision insurance contract will expire on June 30, 2022. Through diligent efforts, North Risk partners have been able to provide the city with a renewal of dental insurance benefits and vision insurance benefits with no cost increase. This resolution would renew the current Principal Dental and Vision insurance plans from July 1, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. Need a motion, please?
I move that we approve dental and vision.
Any further discussion on these group plans? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item, resolution approving renewal of Unum insurance for group term, life and long-term disability benefits for the City of Perry employees. The city's employees group term, life and long-term disability benefit contract will expire on June 30th, 2022. It's important that the benefits provided by the city involves savings for both the city and the employees, as well as provides benefits required by the Teamsters Union in the city employees manual. North Risk Partners wants to provide the city with the best insurance of the most economical prices. In their efforts, they recommend renewal of the current group term life and long-term disability benefits with no cost increase. This resolution would renew the current plan for July 1, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. Any further discussion on this one? Bless you. If not, call the roll, please.
I need a motion in a second.
I need a
make
motion.
We pass the resolution approving renewal of the Unum insurance and group term life and long-term disability benefits for the city of Perry employees.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Berglund,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item, resolution approving economic development loan agreement with Perry Economic Development, Inc. and Perry Industries, Inc. Perry Economic Development is in the process of building a new 30,000 square foot shell building in the Perry Industrial Park. They have secured financing through revolving funds from Minburn Communications, Guthrie County REC, and SIPCO. After the secured funding, PED has a funding gap that needs to be secure. This resolution would authorize a loan agreement in the amount of $250,000 at 0% interest for a term of 36 months. previous shell building projects have led to over 5.5 million in value and 100 jobs. This loan will help bring the additional value and jobs to the community. Need a motion, please?
I move to pass a resolution approving economic development.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
Just north of Highline, between Highline and Percival. So Perry Economic Development has taken a little bit different approach with this shell building than what they've done in the past. So historically, they've used some of their cash on hand as well as just a normal loan from a construction type loan from the bank to build the building and then ultimately sell that. This go around, they were able to go to those 3 utilities that serve the park and get basically the same financing deal that they get through the USDA revolving loans. So the same deal that we have for the Sallyport with the 10-year note, 2-year deferment at 0% interest. So their plan is to do that first 2 years and have the first payment due at the end of 2 years. So basically 3 years, no payments at 0% interest with those utility partners. So we're just coming in and filling the gap on that. So they're a little bit less than what they would usually be on cash right now. So this is a great way for us to be able to help them out to get this project done. And I added up just a few of those shell buildings that have been built out there. This will be the 4th one that they have done. So around $5.5 million in taxable value out there, about 100 jobs. So this typically they land right in that 1.8 to $2.5 million of value when they're done. So this is a great return for us. So.
There was an error. If anybody looked at the agreement, the legal description, we got our wires crossed. So ignore the exhibit A. It is wrong and it'll be updated to the proper legal description once we officially have it. Yes.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, it was late on Friday when I got it and I was like, oh, here's the exhibit, and I shoved it through, and then we later determined that was not the right exhibit. So it will be updated.
Good deal. Any further discussion on this loan agreement?
Mr. McDivitt is on hand. I'm sure he is yearning to make a very brief comment, no longer than 3 minutes. Yeah.
Well, he came, so we should let him speak.
I
3
think
minutes.
Skip's at supersonic. I don't know if that's ultrasonic is even faster than supersonic, but brief for sure. So this is exciting time. Like Sven said, Perry Economic Development does find itself lower cash than normal, but that's because there's a lot more activity than we've ever had. And so hitting all at once. Today we closed on 28 acres of industrial park expansion with Carl Stuckenholtz, which is fantastic. Press releases to come, but we have an incredible assortment of things to support our mission, which is to help build the tax base and support the economic development in the city of Perry. And so this is definitely a partnership. We're definitely glad to, in public-private partnerships, as you heard in about 45 minutes last meeting, are the way things work, especially for big things and doing great things. And so here, as you know, from our last spec building, which actually was sold to a local company, TC&B Corporate Wearables, this in what was a record time to purchase agreement, not a record time to close, but it was one of the, in the state of Iowa, it was a record time to have an interested buyer. In that time, in the long time it took to actually close the project, we had 10 to 15 people, companies interested in buying the building who were in line to say, hey, if this doesn't work out, we want that. What we figured out is because we had tried a virtual spec building once upon a time, imaginary spec buildings are not what people want. They want to come, they want to see it, they want to see the land, they want to talk to the city. And then, so we are excited about this project. They're in rural Iowa right now, and that would be things served by rural telecoms, rural electrics, and some of these other municipalities. There are almost no spec building inventory. You could find some in larger communities. You could find some older buildings that are available to be repurposed, but nothing new. So this is going to be the first one on the ground, middle of May of this year, and with construction completed by the end of June. So we're going to have several things to go along with this, make a lot of noise to let people know we're here, to try and beat our record on the last one. So any questions from anybody on this?
So assuming that you got those acres today, does that mean that there's 14 more in the chute?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. So we have, looking at the park, and I think the plat is something that's going to be coming shortly, and we're running short on lots. So there's some pretty cool projects that are going to be announced here in the next short term. And so we're probably down to three industrial park lots plus the frontage, which is a little different. You typically wouldn't put a building like this in the front, but so we're down to pretty much 3 lots, which is incredible. So, and then, so here we had a deal we couldn't pass up on the future. So yeah, to that point, for sure. Yeah.
Any further discussion or questions for Matt?
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Thanks, man.
I guess I would just add, I should have done this in my city administrator comments, but since it's sort of connected to Perry Economic Development and Minburn Communications, last week at the Rural Development Summit, Deb Luke, who is the CEO of Minburn Communications, was awarded one of the Rand Fisher Rural Leadership Awards in the state. So a very prestigious honor for her. She's done a lot for Perry Economic Development, been president for a few years, is now the vice president. So great recognition of her hard work, not only of what she's done in Perry, but also what she's done. She's been behind a lot of the grant work for rural broadband development and build out of rural broadband. So good relationships at the state level as well. So all in all, very deserved, and excited for her for that award.
Congratulations to her.
Thanks, Matt. Any further discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling.
Yes.
Berkland.
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
We got a great industrial park out there. I think that continues to grow. That's really good for Perry. Next item, resolution approving a readdressing of a parcel. The property located at 1120 West 3rd Street is made up of 2 different tax parcels, and one of the parcels is in the process of being sold. A new address must be assigned to the parcel, changing ownership. After review with Perry E911 dispatch, it was determined that 1118 West 3rd Street would be the new address for the parcel being sold. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion. Resolution approving readdressing parcel 1118 West 3rd.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
So this is one of the Webker buildings that is on its own parcel, but I think they all have the same address. So this is, I believe, sold and is going to have somebody move into it. So needed a different address. So I think because it's a re-addressing of the parcel, the county wanted a resolution from city council as opposed to just a new address. Is just kind of Daniel works with Lori down at dispatch, assigns an address and lets the county know, and it becomes that. Because it's a change, it needed official action.
Sounds good.
And
Right, county lady?
Am I correct? There's a new business
Yes.
already in the process of.
Yep.
That's good news also. Any further discussion about this readdressing? If not, call the roll, please.
Mahler.
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, next item. Resolution appointing representative and alternate to the Dallas County Emergency Management Commission. This resolution would reappoint Mayor Andorf as an elected official as a representative and Chief Police Eric Vaughn as the alternate to the Dallas County Emergency Management Commission. As part of the provisions of the Iowa Code, Chapter 29C, the commission members shall be the operations liaison officers between the jurisdiction and the commission and shall coordinate emergency services in the event of a disaster. Need a motion, please?
I make the motion to pass a resolution appointing representative and alternate to the Dallas County Emergency Management Commission.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I believe it has to be an elected official. Is that correct, Liz? Okay. Any further discussion? Thanks, Chief. If not, call the roll.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, next item, resolution approving a master services agreement, JEO Consulting Group, Inc. Staff has determined a need for aquatic engineering and has found that JEO has experienced pool engineers in light of recent issues with the current spa and pool engineers needed to design and submit proper documentation to the state of Iowa for approval. This agreement allows access to aquatic specific engineers to assist in solving any aquatic mechanical problem efficiently and effectively. Need a motion, please?
I move that we pass the resolution. Pass the resolution approving a master service agreement.
Second.
Discussion?
I'll let John explain this one.
Well, we've got a 40-year-old pool and a 40-year-old pump room. And that 40-year-old pump room is not the same as what it was when it was built. There's a lot of piping in there that's been changed over the years. We've got Schedule 80 PVC with Schedule 40, and we've got 1.5-inch piping paired with 2-inch piping. And anytime you make a change with piping, it adjusts the flow of the water. And there's a whole bunch of equations that, you know, fancy engineers know how to do and can work it out. But anyway, in a nutshell, the state is cracking down. In the early 2000s, they've really tightened the screw on pools and what they can and can't do. So basically, anytime that there is a change within the pools or the spas, piping or motors or pumps, anytime that there's a change, you have to submit a permit that is engineered, and the state has to approve that change, and then you can go ahead and proceed with making the corrections and fixing whatever broke. So we've changed a pool pump or the spa pump a couple months ago. It was a 1.5 horse. We put a 2-horse pump on there with a motor, and it's fully adjustable. So we adjusted it to the proper gallons per minute. The state inspector came in, did their normal inspection, was like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have that pump on there. Like, you didn't have a permit. And we, at the time, you know, we made that mistake. I didn't realize that, you know, that small, it seems simple. A pump broke. We removed it, put a new pump in, matched it, flow. We walked away. The state inspector did not like that. So we were like, oh, okay, we got to draw up plans and get a permit. So we're going down the proper channel there to get that pump replaced properly. I want to use this as an opportunity, though. There is piping differences in there from 1 inch or from 1.5 to 2-inch. I want to take this as an opportunity to make that all right. Original building blueprints, there was a 3/4 horse original. It's now at a 2-horse. So a lot has changed over the years, and there's no no one took notes over the years of when people did what and how they fixed it. So like, I think this is a good opportunity for us to get that spa back to current operations. On the flip side, over to the pool. So if you turn around in that pump room, there's a giant pool pump. And a year ago, that pump stopped working on us. We removed it, took it to a pool or a pump company. They basically re-welded the flighting on the inside of the pump. And then we reinstalled it. And they told us, we don't know if it's gonna last 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. We have no idea. Best of luck to you. So at the time, I went ahead and bought a replacement pool pump, motor and pump. And we have that sitting there ready to go at a moment's notice when it's ready to go. Well, a 2020 pump doesn't fit perfectly onto a 1983 8-inch old cast iron piping. So task one is obviously to get the spa pump and piping squared away. And then there might be another task coming down to get the pool pump replaced. So there could be some slight adjustments to piping in order to get that pool pump and motor replaced. And in order to do that, we've got to have a permit submitted to the state. The pool temperature hasn't been working properly because the flighting most likely on the inside of that pump has wore off. And what's happening is that impeller spinning real fast and it's creating air bubbles. And those air bubbles basically vapor locked the heat, the water that goes to the heat exchanger, goes clear over to the other side of the building, goes through a heat exchanger from the boiler, comes clear back across. Well, what's happened is it's pushing air bubbles through that line, goes up into the rafters. And what's happened is those air bubbles have collected over time and we get vapor locked. We can't get water to flow to and from the pool. Well, in order to fix that, we found out that if you open and close and slam a valve shut really hard and fast, you create a pressure system and we can get that vapor lock and it blows bubbles out in the pool and we got it back flowing properly. But it's just going to happen again because the flighting in there is gone. So it's time to replace that as well. But you know, every time we slam those valves, it's 40-year-old piping that, you know, none of those valves have ever been worked or exercised over the years. So that's what we're working with. So we're just, you know, trying to get her going. You know?
I think I know a lot more about the mechanics than I ever did before then.
Well, there's a lot more to it than just
sure.
that. I'm
We
giving
have-
you the
in all
easy stuff.
seriousness, We have found out and been reminded that the spa relates to a positive guest experience.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, people love it. Like no one wants to see it go away. So,
Thank you.
you know,
Any further discussion or questions for John?
Is there a purge tank up there that you can pop a valve on?
so on the heat exchange, so there's a couple things that we can do moving forward, right? So there is some valves that are on top of the heat exchanger that we might be able to bleed. But the heat exchanger is lower than the piping, so that air is going to work its way clear up into the rafters of the pool. So there's no real good way of doing that. But what we can do is we can install flow meters on the front side and on the back side of the heat exchanger so that we could at least tell, you know, how much flow is actually coming to and from the heat exchanger. So we'll be able to catch that vapor lock faster. But I can't drill holes into that piping until we it's scheduled to drain and clean this year in September or August. So most likely I'll do that right before we close it and drain it and clean it because I got to drill into the piping, metal shavings into the water. I won't do that until timing's right. So
Is there money in the budget to repipe that old scheduled pipe?
All is in what? The spa? Yes.
yeah.
The whole, Johnny's whole pool, I don't know if that's a single budget.
Well, so like, you know,
Special thing, so.
someone asked earlier about the wastewater treatment plant, right? How huge of a project that is. And it's a 25 to 30-year project. That pool's 40 years old. So
So
probably-
this new company will be able to really help us out.
100%. Yeah. So JEO's got,
Yep.
very experienced pool engineers on staff that'll
Yeah.
be able to
So
walk us through all this.
like John said, once the spa is squared away and we can breathe a sigh of relief, that's done and we're not going to get fined. We're probably going to turn around and have them look at the pool because it's time for new filters and things like that. We'll go to a pressurized filter system and look at the heat exchanger and everything. So
Yep.
that'll be phase 2. So
Yep.
Okay, any other discussion related to this? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling.
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Berkland.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, resolution approving task order number 2207 11.01 scope of work for spa pump replacement. JEO Consulting Group has provided a scope of work for the spa pump replacement, which includes complete project design and creation of IDPH construction and waiver submittals. The design work is anticipated to be performed within 30 days of approval, and the task order cost would not exceed $8,000. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion, we pass resolution approving task order number 220711.01. Scope of work for spa pump replacement.
Any further discussion on this spa pump replacement issue? If not, call the roll, please.
Berkelland.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, resolution authorizing grant applications for budgeted capital expenditures. Departments of the city of Perry regularly submit grant applications to various granting organizations and foundations for matching grants for budgeted capital expenditures. The departments seeking grant funds would provide the total grant matching funds from their annual budgets. The submission of these grant opportunities would potentially add value to the city of Perry, its facilities, and to the residents served. The city administrator would be required to approve all applications prior to applying, and after approval, the city departments may participate in the grant opportunities. Accepting grant monies offered and all other necessary requirements of any grant which total matching fund is fiscal year 2023 budgeted capital expenditure. All binding documents must be signed by the mayor and or the city administrator. Need a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve resolution authorizing grant applications for budget capital expenditures.
Discussion.
This is just one of those housekeeping things that we do after budget every year. Just makes a little bit easier for our department heads to go after grants to offset some of the costs of their projects that they're looking at doing throughout the year.
Any further discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Klein. Walling.
Yes.
Berkelland.
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, resolution making appointments for the Perry City Council standing committees. Resolution 061702E dated June 17, 2002, established city council standing committees in the area of public safety, public facilities, public works, administration, and finance. Memberships of the standing committees is changed at the discretion of the mayor and needed to be updated with the recent council appointment. The standing committee's appointments will be as follows. As you recall, earlier this year, we went through this, but since Kurt resigned, we have to do this again, and we're essentially just plugging Jeremy in where Kurt was. Public Works and Zoning, Jeremy and Schott. Public Facilities and Parks, Berkelland and Mauer. Public Safety, Walling and Klein. Budget and Financing, Schott and Walling. Administration and Personnel, Berkelland and Klein. Passage of this resolution would approve the appointment to the standing committees. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion, we pass the resolution making appointments for the Perry City Council with standing committees.
I'll second.
Discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Berkelland.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for serving. Okay, moving on to ordinances. Ordinance amending the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 135.10 driveway entrances, driveways, and driveway extensions. It has been brought to the city's attention that large driveways are being constructed that encompass significant portions of a property's front yard. The current driveway ordinance does not disallow this, nor does it set many standards for driveway construction. City staff have been researching and workshopping possible standards for driveway construction to include rules for material, size, and location of driveways that will prevent construction of driveways that are excessively large, of lower quality construction or material, and located in areas where driveways are not typically found. With passage of this ordinance, it would modify chapter 135.10 driveway entrances, driveways, and driveway extensions. Final, this is a final reading, third reading and final reading. Need a motion, please?
Pass an ordinance amending ordinance chapter 135.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Again, this was our third and final reading. Or next item, ordinance amending the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 99 Sewer Service Charges. The current rate chart for sewer service was adopted by resolution and will end on the July 2022 billing. It has been determined that when establishing new rates, the action should be done by ordinance. New rates are needed to be established to reflect the current debt liability for the sewer facility. This ordinance would set the new rates starting fiscal year 2023, going through fiscal year 2026. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion to pass ordinance amending the code of the ordinance chapter 99 sewer service charges.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
So we talked about this at the beginning, but again, we'll have this sewer rates posted on the city website, update the sewer plant project page and include it on there. Put some photos up. Definitely not one of the more fun things that we get to do, but it's one of the necessary things, so.
I think the city council wants to apologize to all of our patrons out there for this rate hike, but it's the only way we can pay for this. So we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. I know we don't like the rate, up rate hikes, prices for things around here, just, but it's something we have to do to get this.
Any further discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Mahler,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Having no further business before us, we adjourn this meeting at 7:34 PM. Thank you, folks. We had a lot on our agenda tonight. So we got through. Thank you.
Hey, what do I do over here? Does it stop the recording or is it?